I always look at starting from establishing my vision and the mission. If you're not describing where you want to go and what you want to accomplish, then you're not providing a destination for your team to drive towards.
Welcome everyone to the Revenue Operations blog. Today we have the one and only Mike Weir, CRO of G2 Crowd. I believe 9 months in there, Mike, following an 8 or so year stint at LinkedIn. Mike joins us today from Chicago, where he's currently snowed in. He's been shoveling snow for the last 3 days to try and get out and about. So thank you very much for spending the time, and hopefully it doesn't build up too much while we're chatting. Welcome, Mike, and perhaps you could start off by just telling everyone a little bit about who is Mike Weir and how did you come to be to where you are right now?
Yeah, well, first, Rory, thanks so much for the opportunity to join the conversation. Looking forward to it. So I lead the revenue and customer success and partnerships organization at G2 currently. My history, though, is kind of steeped in both marketing and sales background. So I started my career in tech, always on the marketing side of the house for my first kind of tour of duty, and then eventually pivoted over into sales leadership roles for roughly the last decade. I was at LinkedIn, as mentioned just before this, where I was part of a really amazing journey of folks that helped build from a small, scrappy marketing solutions business into now what's on a $3 billion plus run rate of revenue. Happy to try to replicate that over at G2 now.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you for the intro. And today we've decided to focus on the topic of strategy versus tactics, which I know is a real hot topic in the kind of RevOps community right now. So I think to start things off really simplistically, what I'm really interested to hear from your perspective is currently, how would you define what each of those are and the main differences between, particularly where one starts and the other begins, starts and the other one stops?
Yeah, well, tactics are always a subset of your strategy, and they tend to be individual things you're doing. Sometimes they're a collection, but I always look at starting from establishing my vision and the mission. So if you're not describing where you want to go and what you want to accomplish, then you're not providing a destination for your team to drive towards.
Yeah.
They need to see the bigger picture. You also, as a leader, need to have a bigger picture so you're not just jumping from one thing to the next. You're setting forth with what is the destination and what is the best path for us to get there. I need to isolate what do we need to get there, what roadblocks may we run into, and how are we going to deal with those? What investments do I need to make and plan for proactively so that I am constantly in a proactive planning and execution motion so that the tactics just follow. I know where I want to be in 3 years. What is it going to take to get there? That's then how I lay out the operational priorities and the tactics of what's needed this quarter, the next 6 months, the next 12 months, leading us towards that 3-year vision.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm going to ask now, of course, is whether from your time at G2 or even at LinkedIn, perhaps you could share some sort of example of that system working.
Yeah. So right now, I'll use a recent example because I joined G2 at a really unique time. We're all still working through the impact on global health and really just overall, financial security of the markets, our individual selves. And so joining G2 at the height of unknown, coming in June, we reforecasted our revenue plan, we adjusted our cost expenses, and the very first project I took on was setting what is the 3-year vision for G2 from a revenue perspective, and then worked with my chief product officer, partner in crime, Sarah Rossio, to pair that revenue vision with our product side, because they have a hugely important aspect of that equation where they're looking after our entirety of our experience. So we are only successful if we engage with the buyers who are using G2 really well. We have to provide value to them, because those are the folks that ultimately the clients that my team engage with, they want to build a relationship with those buyers. And so the first thing we did was set that vision of where do we want to be in 3 years. That's more than just what's my revenue target. That's more about where do I want to be in the value we're providing to the buyers who are utilizing our platform? Where do I want to be in the value and specific audience types that I want to be a strategic partner to? And how will I become even more of a partner in crime that helps sit at the table with them and adjust, adapt their marketing strategies, their sales outreach programs in concert with the products and platform that we're building out? And so, real example there is we've pivoted as we're coming into our next fiscal year, and we're investing deeply in customer success, because as we've seen through COVID, more than ever, everybody has to deepen their client relationships because there's not as many new investments. Thankfully, that's opening up, but there haven't been as many new investments. So if you weren't taking care of your existing customers, then you were really damaging your business. We have a huge potential to help with our client base in knowing, what their existing clients care about, because we're tracking these markets via our research team. We're sharing insights on the features, the functionality that the market's gravitating towards. So we've been trying to lean into advising on where is your market going? What new technology do you have to come out with? What things do you have to change within your support process that are getting negative feedback within the market that can help you be better? And so we're specifically pivoting our investment strategy and beefing up our customer success organization to add to the consultative nature of how we're engaging with our client base today.
Awesome. Okay. So this is very interesting, because immediately what we're talking about here, if we take the tangent you took about delivering amazing value to your current client base, that's a very qualitative goal to have. Maybe we're getting into the world of OKRs here, but we'll stick to it. So how do you start to go about understanding, what's the right way to understand whether we end up being successful in that in 3 years, or whether we actually aren't successful in that? How do you kind of quantify that, do you think?
So as part of setting the 3-year vision, we are looking at qualitative and quantitative measures of what we want to accomplish. And so there's 2 functions within my team that become really key strategic assets in vetting out that vision and setting what are the short-term and the long-term milestones we have to be looking for. My operations team is the #1 partner on this. Right? We are looking at the data of our business, looking at our performance. We are comparing that to the overall market, and we're starting to set milestones that say, all right, if our EMEA business specifically right now looks like X, and we want to grow it by 4 times that, let's start understanding all of the implications on our customer base, on our support model, on our ability to make sure that we're creating a great experience for that volume of clients. And so we start setting milestones about how many clients every single quarter should we be acquiring that lead up to the goal of how big we want this business to be. How well do we have to be retaining our existing customer base to pair with that new customer acquisition, so that, again, we're leading up to a business that's 5x the size of what EMEA is today. And then once we've got some of that core math of our business, then we're starting to look at where is there going to be breakdown. So where do I have to hire first? What type of new functions do I need to create as we're advancing the size of our customer base, as we're advancing the sophistication of our client relationships? There are new things that we are anticipating clients will be asking for from us that are within my control. I want to bring on more solutions consultants that get deep into the amazing data that G2 has to provide custom analyses and solutions to clients for their big questions they have. But then I also look at that and go to the product organization and talk to them about, this is functionality that we need to build into our website experience, because I have a world today where we're working with over 1,700 clients. I'm envisioning a world where we have over 3,500 active clients. And I can't get there through hiring people alone. I
Yeah.
need to create more educational tools. I need to create more gamification within the stuff that we have available to our clients within my G2. How can we just make our system easier to use, surface more of the right content we're producing to help educate them and give them best practices, all in service of making sure that they're well taken care of and getting tremendous ROI from G2 to stay a client for years to come.
Awesome. So this is a really interesting topic. We speak to a lot of people that are on the journey, considering completed the game when it comes to involving product with the revenue ops team. And it sounds to me like you've mentioned product twice now. Obviously, this is incredibly important to you, particularly with this piece of driving value with clients, with this 3-year plan. So what I'm interested to learn about is, for people that maybe are out there watching this thinking, right, how do we get better at linking the world of strategic revenue aims to product? Like, what sort of systems have you seen work well, or that you've got that, where do people start? Like, what are the fundamentals there for that communication channel to work beautifully?
Yeah, we create a regular rhythm of planning meetings between
Okay.
sales and product. Those happen at all levels of our organization. So at our senior leadership team level, we are meeting and having offsites about health of the business and long-term plans roughly every 6 months.
Yeah.
And so that's a executive team check-in of, are we making any meaningful changes to where we're investing and where we expect our business to be in the next year to 2 years. But we're also taking that down a layer to my CRO leadership team, meeting on a regular basis with the product leadership team to talk about the product roadmap. So once a month, our product team leads a call that's around strategic alignment. So as we're looking at the next set of sprints, as we're looking at the next wave of products that they're planning for and going to start working on, we're realigning kind of every single month to say, all right, is anything changing? Are there any nuances that are coming up in market conversations that we need to think about, where we're either changing priorities based on stuff that we're seeing, or we're just tweaking how we plan to execute? Say, hey, there's just like this little thing, within buyer intent, we're going to continue down the path we're going on, but there's this really interesting use case that's evolving that we want to adapt the way we're delivering buyer intent to help support, the account-based programs that a lot of our marketing clients are asking to execute with us. And so that kind of leadership level alignment happens monthly. And then even at the individual contributor level, we have folks within our senior individual contributor ranks that host councils. And so these are, the team's opportunity to have their voices heard, but in a really structured way. Because like every company, we have tons of email conversations, one-on-one meetings, Slack conversations happening, but really great ideas get lost in that one-to-one communication. We want to create moments that matter for the team to come together and discuss, stack rank, and then ultimately share those with the leadership team of, these are the things that are bubbling up within our direct client conversations. Here are the ideas that we have that we think we need to prioritize. And then in those monthly meetings, that's where myself and my leadership team are absolutely taking that feedback into consideration. But also the product leadership team is coming in and saying, it feels like from our enterprise sales council, we need to change priority and get to this faster.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing a great opportunity. Clients are really excited about this. It's going to deliver meaningful ROI. So let's jump this up to priority 2 instead of priority 4. Let's get it done next month instead of 2 months from now.
Awesome. So we're getting really deep into tactics now on the ground level. And actually, you beat me to it, Mike. We're obviously thinking the same way. And I was just going to ask, how does this translate into the sales team? Because clearly they're your ears, right? More than anything, you've got this wonderful research team by the sounds of it. but your sales team and your go-to-market team are listening and getting the feedback. On that point of when you elect these senior sales members or revenue members to run these councils, was that an easy thing to set up, or was there considerations of the kind of psychology of how we make that something that people really want to be part of, and the kudos and reverence behind it?
Yeah, it's a great question, because you're spot on. We have to take into consideration the human nature. Like, one, we want people that are extremely excited and frankly are the individuals that are already leaning into this and doing it in an ad hoc way right now. So we're building a program and creating support for the people that are already passionate about sharing their perspectives on what's going in the market, helping make sure that their clients' voices are heard. And so that, one, creates a great opportunity for us to not only create structure and make sure the voice is heard, but it creates a great talent development process for us. And we want to help empower the individuals and coach them at being really good at cross-functional alignment, really good at communication, influencing the organization. So all of that leads to, in this case, if it's a salesperson like the person that leads our enterprise council, these are all negotiation tactics, being able to influence people, things that they're able to apply in their day job. But at the end of the day, we're also teaching them skills to keep advancing within their career while helping deliver an immediate impact for the business. And in many instances, the people that take on these type of expanded roles that are informal in nature are the folks that are looking to move into management, or they're just a rock star salesperson who always wants to be a rock star salesperson, but likes the idea of doing strategic projects every once in a while. And so it helps them to kind of keep challenged within their day jobs, whether they want to go into people management or not. And either way, we're helping them continue to grow and refine as a professional.
Awesome, love that. So I'm going to ask again. It'd be great if there's an example of either something that the consumer-facing site or the business-based product, there's something in there that perhaps came through that channel which has been fairly significant or noticeable. That'd be great to share any successes there.
Yeah. So when you're thinking of like how we've impacted our members, our buyers on the platform, not just our clients. Yeah. So it's the one thing I really like is our clients actually have a lot of great ideas of how to add more value to our buyers. So
I bet,
there is ongoing conversations, but some of the stuff that we're doing right now is we've heard loud and clear that not all of the great thought leadership and custom research that we're doing is getting out to the right people. And so that was one of the great insights where, from our operational metrics, we weren't as dialed into the micro of what was happening in like specific topic engagement in really interesting product categories that we had analysts tracking. And so we had individuals in our sales team that had highly passionate clients in that market who were kind of stepping outside of their own self-interest and saying, this is really great. Buyers need to get more of this. Like, can I help promote this? Can I get this out there? Can I use it in my own marketing materials? And so through client perspectives and our sales team, it surfaced that we're missing a great opportunity to just make our research better known and make it more valuable by creating different ways that we're surfacing this across our platform via our email channels, via our social channels as well. So we've been in the process of adapting how not only we publish but distribute the G2 research to make it more accessible and valuable to the buyers out there.
Awesome, that's brilliant. So I want to circle back to something you mentioned a couple of times, and actually you mentioned it when we had a quick chat before the interview began, and it's this concept you're describing. The big ops, the big focus for this audience, of course, is revenue ops, and you describe them now as strategic partners. Mm-hmm. And it sounds to me like this is a way of thinking that's more recent in your career. I'm interested to get your take on what your experience, if we maybe go 5-10 years ago when the world of ops was probably quite different and still maturing. how we've moved into this world of strategic partners, and why it is that you describe them that way. Like, how has that role changed so much that they've earned that status?
Yeah, I would say, going back the 10-year ago time frame,
Yeah.
it was a world of tactics. I think we constrained ourselves within what RevOps, sales ops could do, and so they stayed very focused on, I own the quota process, I own the book building process, I own kind of dealing with issues in the business like pipeline management and things of that nature. And over time, one, as technology evolved and more things became available to them to free up their time to then focus on more strategic endeavors. And as I've seen different profiles of people that are looking at ops. So before it was more people that really just wanted to be in the weeds and the data, like, let me work on this, crank it out, hand it off, and then step back and don't care about it. More of the consultant persona has been showing up in the RevOps organizations, and pairing that persona change, what they're great and passionate about, with technology and better access to data across the business, has led to us being able to challenge them and ask them bigger questions and bring them into our strategic planning, our business processes, to be a trusted advisor in what's going on in the business today and help lead projects that we're planning to do in 12 months, so that I can keep parts of my sales leadership team very focused on the here and now and participating and advising on those projects, but not holistically owning them, building out the whole scope, the strategy, all that. So now we have a really great balance of who owns what that's allowed us to get more accomplished.
Awesome. So the last question I'm going to ask is a little bit of advice you could pass on, if that's okay. So there's plenty of people that will be watching this, and their internal monologue might be saying, how do I get a seat at the table? How do I get part of the strategic conversations? How do I become the strategic partner? We're hearing this talk track a lot right now. So if you were in RevOps, sales ops, maybe you were leading that team, and you felt like your team wasn't quite there yet with their CRO, their senior leadership, what would be your advice as to how to sell the importance of having that in this day and age?
Yeah, one of the easiest places to start is just learn the business. I think where we came from before was a place of, I know the data, but I didn't know the business. And I didn't know the nuance of what we were dealing with in our client base, why we were losing business, why we were gaining business, why we were successfully expanding business. Didn't know all the different cross-functional teams and how they were interacting, the things that people are struggling with every day in the revenue organization. What the best leaders that I've worked with in revenue operations have always done is join, shadow, learn, shape their own perspectives on the business strategy, on the challenges and the risks. And then once they have that foundation of knowledge that builds their credibility, they bring ideas. But you need that credibility, because I know plenty of ops people that throw an idea out there and like 2 questions in, it's already shot down. And so you immediately lose that credibility. It's deflating. You probably don't bring stuff up again. But if you build that foundational knowledge about the business and you have that credibility, then when you raise an idea, it's going to get a lot more engagement, a lot more energy around it, and hopefully get implemented. And then you're starting to build that track record of really innovative thinking, additive thinking, that then over time grows into, like, you're just at the table, but you kind of have to earn your way there through credibility and respect in executing something first.
Awesome. Last one, bit of fun. Your CRO, you've probably got your VP of RevOps. How would you describe that relationship through your chosen famous duo?
Through a famous duel.
Duo, D-U-O.
Famous
as in
duel.
like Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Oh, so I would try to make it more partners versus sidekick. That's a great question. I would look at it to use more modern comics. Like, this is like the Justice League. This is a brain trust that's working together to help, to grow. So I would go with that for a duo, just the overall Justice League that really, really partners and works together, plays off of each other's strengths to help.